Government. In this chapter, we would learn about important functions of government, that is coercive and development, as well as organs of the government. People live in a society because they are dependent upon each other for the fulfillment of their needs. For the society, there are certain rules to run all the activities smoothly. The government is the agency which enacts and enforces these rules upon society. The constitution of a country lays down the rules by which a country is to be governed. The government executes these laws. Functions of government. Two important functions of government are coercive and development. Coercive functions are those functions that require the use of force. For example, checking crimes, maintaining law and order, internal and external security, etc. Developmental activities are those activities which are concerned with the welfare of the citizens. For example, construction of roads and bridges, hospitals, education institutions, setting up of industries, etc. The government has three organs. 1. Executive, B. Legislature, and C. Judiciary. The main function of the government is to maintain law and order. Laws have to be made. These laws are made by the legislature, introduces and passes laws. The judiciary makes sure that these laws are not misinterpreted either by the legislature or by the executive. The judiciary provides justice to the people. In democratic countries like India, people decide who will govern over them. If the people are not satisfied with the government, they can change it through elections. A no-confidence motion against the government, if passed in the parliament, can change it through elections. In some countries, there was no right to women for voting. The suffragette movement of the early 20th century was associated with the right to vote. As late as the 1980s, the blacks in South Africa were not given any political representation. Thus, they had no decision-making powers in their own country. The white minority regime in South Africa followed a policy of apartheid, that is, racial segregation between whites and non-whites. The anti-apartheid struggle received support from all over the world. The first democratic elections in South Africa were held only in April 1994. The African National Congress swept the polls and Nelson Mandela became the first president of South Africa. Today, all modern democratic states have adopted universal adult franchise, that is, the right to citizens above the age of 18 to vote. Democratic governments can be of two types: A. Parliamentary, B. Presidential. Parliamentary forms of government. 1. The Prime Minister is the real head of the government. The government, which is directly elected by the people, stays in power for its full term as long as it has the support of the majority. Presidential form of government. 1. The President is the real head. 2. He is elected directly by the people. 3. Since the President is elected directly by the people, he or she is not responsible to the legislature. 4. The President is not necessarily from the party that wins a majority in the Parliament. For example, United States of America. Government can also be classified as unitary or federal. In the federal form of government, division of power lies with the Constitution. In India, the Constitution has given the centre more powers than the states. This division of power lies with the Constitution. This is why we say that India is federal with a unitary bias. Dictatorship is directly opposite to a democratic government. In a dictatorship, people do not elect their government, nor is it formed by popular consent. People have no participatory powers because the principles of political equality. Summary 1. Modern governments have two important functions, coercive and developmental. 2. A government has three organs, executive, legislature and judiciary. 3. In a democracy, there is active participation by the people in the government. People decide who will govern them. They also have the power to remove them if they are not satisfied with the government and have re-elections. And that is all in this lesson, student. Have a fun and enjoy the learning.